Back in 1991, I had the opportunity to work on a really, really cool project. My buddy Ron Sano Jr. called me up one day and said, hey, we're working on this project. You didn't even know about it. It was a collection of Joe DiMaggio serolithographs that were made to commemorate really him and his career in baseball. And so I thought, I was working on a couple different things at the time. I always like to figure out new projects. So I go and meet Ronnie, and we go down and meet this guy, Joe Aurelio. And I just thought he's either in the mob or he's one of the coolest guys I ever met. And so he became one of those coolest guys I ever met, and he single-handedly started the Aurelio's Pizza chain. Can you tell it's Food Friday here on GN? They got the hooks out of me and can talk about anything I want, and today was about food. So I learned about how Joe Aurelio created the pizza chain, and he went on to do some really great things and unfortunately left us a few years ago. But when I drive around Chicago and I see the Aurelio pizzas, I think about Joe. I think about how he started in 1959 serving beef sandwiches and how the Aurelio's chain has gone on since then, carried on in fine form by his son, Joe, and he's in the studio with me today. Joe, welcome. Good to see you again. Long time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John.
Yeah.
I'm here.
I got to tell you what, you look the same as you did in 1991.
Yeah,
you're supposed to say I do too.
I think a little wrinkles, a little less hair, but we look good.
And you just went through prostate cancer, you're telling me. I'm glad you're still around.
Yeah, well, thank you. It was a surprise. Went in for a normal checkup and got caught by surprise, but it was taken care of at the University of Chicago, and it looks like a good outlook.
Good people over there at University of Chicago. So I'm going on the website, and I'm looking it up, and there's a picture of your dad there at the age of about 26, a studly-looking young man, in a striped shirt with this big pizza there, but he really started making beef sandwiches, how it all began.
Yeah, well, he started in 1959 in Homewood, Illinois, with just a little storefront with 4 tables. He was the waiter, the answering the phone, the cook. He did make pizzas also, but pizzas in 1959 were not very common.
Really?
It was very unusual, especially in the south suburbs.
Sure.
And it was Homewood is a German-based town, too, so not a lot of pizza.
Yeah, not a lot of Italian food going on there.
So anyways, he built his business off the beef sandwiches originally the first couple of years, and then once people started coming in, he introduced the pizzas to them, and they started catching on. After several years, he expanded to the next storefront down. Then a few years later, a couple more storefronts. Before he knew it, and maybe 6 years later, there was seating for 220 people, and the pizza business was rolling along.
You're growing up in an environment like that, it had to be interesting for you now, all these years later running the business, to see all those different changes. You must have learned a lot.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what you learn in school is nothing like you learn on the job. And every day is a challenge. There's never 2 days the same. You walk in and you're doing something different.
Exactly. So that reason I asked you to come in was twofold. Number one, I wanted to see you guys. It's been a long time. But number two is that, I was talking to a gentleman a little bit earlier, most people go into an Aurelio's Pizza or any place in this city and they have no idea. It's like people say Chevy and they don't know it was a real guy at one time. So Aurelio's is a real guy started by your dad, and now you carry it along. You must have people coming back, they'll say, you know what, I remember your dad doing this and all these kind of things. It's got to feel good.
Absolutely. There's 52 years of stories from customers coming through, 5 generations of customers. And it's always a great feeling because my dad did a lot of great things for a lot of people. The customers have always returned the favors that he gave back to the community. So
I had it wrong because I thought your dad had some sort of way of making the pizza from underneath, like in the oven. But you were telling me I was close. It's the way it's served is what the difference is. Right.
We go to the extra expense to put our pizzas on a stainless steel rack, which lifts it off the pan, which allows the air to circulate underneath the crust so it doesn't get wet and soggy underneath. It keeps it nice and crisp.
You brought me a sausage pizza.
Yeah.
Didn't bring the rack, though, so it's a little soggy. But that's okay.
Sorry about that.
I'll clean it up. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter at this point. One of the cool things about what you do is that you have an ability, because you're running the business, to use the ingredients, the freshest ingredients, those type of things. But you told me before we came on the air that one of the cost-saving measures you had put in place is you're able to get into the futures of cheese, for example. Not only do you save money, but it keeps the cost down to the consumer.
Right.
Pretty good move.
Yeah, the cheese definitely drives the pizza business.
Yeah.
The most expensive product you put on, it's the most product you put on every pizza.
Yeah.
So with our 44 locations, it allows us to look into buying futures. And last year, we bought in for the year. We set our cheese price to the chain, and we ended up saving our franchisees over $1 million in savings of cheese costs.
Because when you see, we've all watched it go up and down. Whenever Norian's doing the cheese report and stuff, it's been bouncing all over the place. You guys can keep it level.
Right, exactly. And I think the customers don't realize that milk and cheese are a commodity traded every day, and it changes quite a bit. It went a 60-cent swing last year.
How difficult is it for you to wear these different hats? Because, again, I haven't seen you for a long time, and I know the baton was being passed. You were involved with the business back in 91, right?
Correct.
Long time. So you're also, you're a dad on top of all that. but you also have to run the employees, and you got to make sure the stores and the franchisees are doing their job. Plus, there's this whole commodities things going on. At the end of the day, when you walk out into the restaurant, is that the hardest part or the easiest part?
Well, that's the easiest, because that's just the social aspect of it. And I'm a social type of guy. I like to talk to people, hear the stories, and just share life experience with everybody.
Fantastic. Well, they want to talk to you. Eric's on the phone. Eric, welcome to WGN.
Well, thanks for taking my call. I'm actually in Homewood right now, and Joe's sister Amy used to cut my hair a number of years ago. But the point of my call is I grew up in the Homewood area, and I can remember being a little kid going to the original Aurelio's on Ridge Road when he had the 2 storefronts. Then he moved to, I think it was the Van Drunen Ford Body Shop.
That's correct.
And he moved to a body shop?
Yeah,
he bought it out?
The building that we're in now, we bought in 1976. It's a 10,000 square foot. It was a warehouse and a body shop for Van Drunen Ford.
No kidding.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's the original Aurelio's is the best one around, in my opinion. I'm just, from that area, so maybe I'm prejudiced a little bit. But outstanding pizza.
Eric, why is it so outstanding?
It's the sauce. I think it's the sauce, and it just has a very unique flavor that you can't find anywhere. And I'll tell you a quick story. My girlfriend grew up on the south side of Chicago. She didn't even know where or what a Homewood was.
What a Homewood was?
Yeah. She's like, well, Homewood, what's a Homewood? It's like, well, you got to try Aurelio's Pizza as long as we're out here. So we stopped over there, and she was hooked immediately. And she grew up on, her neighborhood pizzeria, and she would never go back to the other place.
Well, you know what? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say she always says, let's go to Aurelio's, and we have to go to the one in downtown Homewood because that's the best. That's what I grew up on.
Yeah, fantastic. I appreciate the phone call. This is what I was going to say, Joe. This is the kind of thing that there are stories behind the stories behind the stories, because your dad, we're going to take a break here in a second. When we come back, I want to talk about where your dad got the idea for this, because I'm wondering, is this a guy, because I never asked him this question, is this a guy who thought, I'm going to make pizzas when I grow up, or is it something that just kind of developed? We're talking with Joe Aurelio. We're talking about Aurelio's Pizza, which is one of the biggest chains around here in the Midwest. How many, 44 locations?
Yeah, 44 locations in 6 states.
Fantastic. And Brian Urlacher comes in and hangs out where?
Down in the Bourbonnais store during the summer training camp.
Yeah? What does he have? Like 5 pizzas?
He's the Hawaiian pizza guy.
Urlacher's the Hawaiian pizza guy.
Sorry, Brian.
You heard it here first. John St. Augustine, WGN. John St. Augustine sitting in for John Williams on WGN, and I'm here with you for about another hour and 10 minutes, and then Gary Meyer will take it from there. He's talking over the Cubs convention, talking baseball in the middle of winter, which is a very, very good thing. In 1959, Joe Aurelio Jr. was a young 26-year-old buck, opened up a small 4-table restaurant on Ridge Road in Homewood, Illinois. In the early days, sales were driven by Joe's home-cooked beef sandwiches, or as we say, beef sandwiches. But as more people were exposed to his pizza, the concept began to take flight, combining generations of family recipes with an innovative approach to pizza making. Joe's recipe for success was born. I got his son Joe in the studio with me, and the phone lines are lighting up because everybody wants to know about the sauce, and they want to know when you're going to open places, a place like in Alaska or something like that. But now your new slogan is about the sauce. That's kind of where you're going with all this. Right.
We've been pushing "It's the Sauce" as our slogan for Aurelio's Pizza. If you've seen any billboards around the Chicagoland area that's been on there, our boxes, anything we've been printing lately has
all about the sauce
on there. That's the story that always comes back to us.
So when we were talking before we stepped out for a second, so these old family recipes, this goes way back in your family. It's got to be a kick to see all this stuff come together. I know you're busy. I know you got to run the business, but when you see people eating your dad's pizza that came from his way back, that's got to be something.
Yeah, it really is. It's a real honor to have customers recognize the quality that we put into our product and the consistency that we show every day in our restaurants.
You've won some awards too, my friend. It's not just us singing your praises and people on the phone. You had some awards at the top 100.
In the last 12 months or so, we've got the Pizza Today magazine, top 100 pizza companies. We're ranked 51. Chicago Magazine this last summer, we're in the top 25 of all Chicagoland. Zagat, the top 5 pizzas in Chicago.
Yeah.
Then there's other little local things, but we're very fortunate that people are recognizing our product as such quality.
Was there any way, look, can I ask you, what I'm trying to get to is the pivot point for your dad, right? Because if your dad doesn't start putting them beef sandwiches out, we're not talking.
Probably, right.
What was it? What did he always want to do this? Is this what drove him? Did he make a decision one day with something else not working and he went this direction? What happened, Joe?
You know what? He served in the U.S. Army, and he was it was over with in 1957, He went through Macomb, Illinois, right, an uncle in the restaurant business. He became a partner with him for a couple of years, decided he didn't want to stay in Macomb, so he came to Homewood, Illinois, and started the Aurelio's there. Like you said, the beef sandwiches were what were his catalyst until everybody got introduced to the pizza product, and then it took off from there.
It's good stuff, and I can't wait for you to leave, not because I'm going to miss you, but I'm going to eat the pizza in just a second. Eileen's on the phone. Eileen, welcome to WGN.
Hi.
Hi.
I grew up in Homewood, and everybody from Homewood of a certain age will know exactly what I mean when I ask you, if I was to go to the Homewood location, could I still get my pizza made in the old oven?
We have 7 old ovens still.
Awesome.
So they're still there. They're Montague ovens, and they have the stone interior of the oven, which slow bakes it and cooks it really nice and crispy. So, yes, we do.
Eileen, what do you have for dinner tonight?
I'm thinking I might be making a trip back to Homewood this evening. Guys, my mouth is watering right now thinking about the old oven pizza. It gives like a crispness to the cheese.
Yes, yeah.
It's a taste that's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. It's just wonderful. And now I'm out in Tinley Park, and it's sad because I'm kind of trying to introduce people to, you got to call Aurelio's. We have one here on Oak Park Avenue.
Wow.
It's such a Homewood thing.
You should smell the studio.
I can, I can imagine it. I can, smell it in my head.
There you go, Eileen. Appreciate the phone call. We're going to jump over to Mike. Mike, welcome to the show.
John, how are you?
Hey, buddy. How are you? It's been a while. Go for it.
You know what this is?
It's Mike.
Mike who?
Keep talking.
Mike Salerno.
Go on. Go with
How are you?
You want to know when he's... I'm doing great. Yeah. You want to know when they're going to open up in Algonquin?
Yeah. Joe, any thoughts about opening in the Algonquin area?
We're always looking to expand. We just need some franchisees to come to us that would like to expand that area, and we're happy to talk to you.
There you go, Mike. There you go. Fork it over.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay.
All right. Joe, you are opening some other locations, though. I want to get to that real quick.
Well, we just opened in Marietta, Georgia this past year.
Georgia?
Yeah, Georgia. We had a Homewood person that moved down there several years ago. Like a lot of people, they say they can't find a good pizza once they leave Chicagoland, and they decided to join the Aurelio's team and opened up this past May.
There you go. We're going to jump over to Charlie, who's got a question about a certain type of pizza. Oh, want to know about Villa Park. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yes, you had a big full-service restaurant in Villa Park. They knocked this shopping strip down to build up a new one in a restaurant. You've only had the carry-out, and it's been about 2 years. Just wondering if and when you knew the restaurant was going to be reopening.
Well, we hope to go right back to where we were in that same location once they rebuilt, but when the economy kind of fell apart, the gentleman that bought the mall and tore it down didn't seem to put it back up very quick, so it kind of delayed our plans. I think in the future we do plan on opening a sit-down back up in that area if things go right.
So last minute or so, not even we got together. It's been great seeing you, having you come in. People want to find you easy. They're all over the place in Chicago, but the website?
Yep, it's Aurelio'sPizza.com, and also our Facebook page, Aurelio's is Pizza.
Fantastic. It's really great seeing you again.
Thank you.
And I appreciate bringing the pizza in because I can't wait to kick you out to news. I'm going to shove it in my face.
Oh, gosh. Well,
appreciate
thank you.
Thanks, Joe. All right, WGN. Hey,